Hi, I'm Allie and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll be cleaning up my April monthly makeup basket, then sharing the makeup and skincare products that I'll be testing out and focusing on during the month of May. I had hoped to do a shop my stash of this portion of the video, similar to what I did last month in April, but unfortunately I am posting this video after May 1st, so I've already gone ahead and gone through my collection and picked out the products that I wanted to use this month so that I could start using them on May 1st. But hopefully I'll get back on track and be able to do a shop my stash for my June monthly makeup basket. So with that being said, let's jump into the video. Here's the top drawer of my makeup caddy. I had selected this Makeup Forever Ultra HD Perfector Blurring Skin Tint to use this month, but I think I only used it once or twice. I got this in one of my Play by Sephora boxes, and it turns out that it's way too dark for me. I thought that it being a blurring skin tint, it might be similar to a tinted moisturizer, but on the day that I used it, I thought it looked fine at first, but when I came home, I was like, whoa, how come I'm so orange? So I will be decoloring this and passing this on to one of my friends or family members who will hopefully be interested in this product. I pulled in this Jouer Truly Yours Dark Circle Concealer to use this month. This is really similar to the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Concealer. This is in the shade Natural Ivory. It's an okay concealer. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but it was fine for the month. I was also testing out this Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Stick in Banana as a concealer, and I tried using it a couple ways. I tried swiping it directly onto my skin and blending it out. I also tried using it with a brush. I don't think it worked well as a concealer for me. I didn't feel it gave me much coverage, but I'm glad I tested it out. One of the nude products I tested out this month was the Catrice Prime and Fine Mattifying Powder in Transparent. I use this powder both as a setting powder and sometimes even as a finishing powder, and I think it worked well in both ways. I was really hoping that I would have finished this Trish McEvoy brow pencil, but I still have that much left to use. So maybe in another month's pull, I'll finally finish this up and get it out of my collection. And everything left in here is from Project Pan, so we'll move on to the next drawer. In this drawer, I pulled two different cream blushes to use for the month, both the Milk Makeup Lip and Cheek Stick in the shade Work, and the Flower Beauty Blush Balm in the shade Nectar. I actually found that Nectar was pretty pigmented, and a little definitely went a long way. So I would just squeeze out the tiniest bit onto the palm of my hand, then kind of shear it out on my finger with my finger, and then dab it onto my cheek. So as you can see, a little does go a long way. So I barely used any product at all this month. So I alternated between using that and the Milk Makeup Stick, and this is the one that kind of broke off on me when I was looking at it last month, so I have to be really careful. So it just kind of kept breaking off on me, but what I would do is just take a little on my finger, and this one I would apply directly to my cheeks. And it definitely gave a softer look than the Flower Beauty Blush Balm. But I liked both colors. This one's just a little more fragile. I was testing out two new eyeliners this month. One of them was the Flow Fushi Mote liner in the shade Brown Black. And I picked this up when I was in Japan last year. This is a liquid eyeliner with the brush tip, and it gives a really fine line. I definitely need to practice more with liquid eyeliner, but I really enjoyed using this, and I actually think I will keep it in my makeup basket for another month. The other new eyeliner that I was testing out was this Urban Decay Glide-On Eye Pencil in the shade Goddess. I didn't realize that there was some glitter or sparkle in it. Sometimes that glitter did kind of transfer below my eyes, but I did like the color, and I guess I need to sharpen this soon. The only other new thing in this drawer that I was trying out for the month was the Laura Mercier Full Volume Mascara in the shade Black. And I think one of the first times I used it, I actually got a compliment from one of my coworkers telling me that my lashes were looking really long that day. So definitely enjoyed using this mascara, and I will be keeping it in my makeup basket for another month. Okay, everything left in this drawer is from Project Pan, so we'll move on to the last drawer. This is probably the drawer I look forward to hitting the most, and it's all of my lip products, or most of them, not everything, actually fit into this drawer. So let's see. I was using this Buxom lip liner in the shade Dolly Danger. I think I used this only a couple of times during the month. Pretty rose shade. I also finally got some use out of this Anastasia liquid lipstick in the shade Stripped. I had put this in my March makeup basket as well and didn't touch it. I left it in for April, and I did use it in April. It is on the lighter side, definitely more of a nude lip color. That's what it looks like. Definitely need to wear it with a darker lip liner, or else my lips just look all washed out. I had also pulled in this ColourPop Luxe lipstick in the shade Come On Sis. Such a beautiful color. This is one of my favorites, definitely. And look at that pretty design too. I only wore this shade a couple of times, maybe 1 or 2 times in the month. This is the Too Faced Sex on the Peach lipstick. This does have that peach scent to it. Definitely in my color family, but a little bit browner than my other lipsticks. I also use this Bite Beauty, a Mousse Amuse Bouche lipstick in the shade Maple. This one was a little out of my comfort zone. It's super pigmented. I definitely tried to sheer it out as much as possible when I wore it, but I did think it was a really pretty color. There were 2 lip glosses that I tested out this month. The first was this NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Peaches and Cream. And I don't know why, but I was actually surprised by the color. I mean, I know it says Peaches and Cream, but this is not what I was expecting. It really kind of overpowered the lipstick color that I put it over, so I did have to try to sheer it out as much as I possibly could. And the last new thing in this jar was a Ciate lip luster in the shade Call Me. This was one of the add-ons from my March 2019 Ipsy Glam Bag Plus. So this was more of what I was expecting with the lip gloss. A sheer wash of color with a little bit of sparkle. And this worked well with any of the lipsticks that I wore it with. Okay, everything left in here is Project Pan, and I just have my little overflow box left. And this little box contains all of my overflow items or larger items that don't fit in my little makeup caddy. So one of the things that I was trying out this month was this Maybelline Fit Me finishing powder, and I actually used it more as a setting powder. This is in the shade 15 Light. And throughout the course of the month, I actually found that it was a little too dark for me. So I did actually purchase the next lightest shade, 10 Fairlight, and I was using that for the latter part of the month. So I'll have to see if this might work for me later in the year when I'm a little bit darker, or if I'll just have to pass this along to someone else. I have some of my skincare items in here too. I think I'm almost done with this Tony Moly Black Tea Serum. I'm surprised at how long it's lasted. I use it almost every night, and I've been using it for maybe 2 months now. So this was only 10 ml worth of product, but I think I still have maybe a week or 2 left on this, so I'll leave this in and continue to finish it up. I was testing out 2 different primers this month. First was this Touch in Sol No Pore Bloom primer that I got in one of my Boxy Charms, I believe. This was such a nice primer. I only needed the tiniest bit, and I just kind of smoothed it over, mainly over my T-zone and my forehead, and then just spread whatever was left over the rest of my face. There is the faintest scent to this primer, but I think that even if you were sensitive to smells, I really don't think it would be much of a problem. Great primer. The other primer that I had pulled in was this IT Cosmetics Serum Collagen Veil Anti-Aging Primer. And I didn't realize it at the time, but it could be used in one of 2 ways. You could use it as a primer before your makeup, or you can use it as part of your skincare routine after your moisturizer to kind of lock everything in. So that's actually how I ended up using it. And you really didn't need much, so I actually have maybe about half of this packet left to use. But I just use this as a final step in my skincare, just to kind of lock everything in. And when I woke up in the morning, sometimes in the past my face would be a little bit oily or greasy from the moisturizer, or it would look oily at least. But when I would put this on, when I woke up in the morning, my skin didn't have that oily or greasy feeling. So I was really pleasantly surprised by this, and I will continue to use it up. The other foundation that I was using for the month was this Lorac Natural Performance Foundation, and it is one of my lighter foundations at the moment. So I was actually mixing it with my Project Pan foundation, and the combination worked out really nicely, and I'm hoping that I got a lot of use or made much more progress on my Project Pan foundation. The other concealer that I was using this month was this NYX Gotcha Covered Waterproof Concealer in the shade Light. And this was definitely a thick consistency concealer. A little did go a long way. I'm not sure if anything is truly full coverage for me, because I feel like my dark circles are pretty dark, but this definitely came close. Look at how much came out from that little drop. So a little definitely goes a long way with this concealer. And because it was so thick, I did try to apply it with my fingers and blend it out as best as I could without using a brush, or sometimes I would have to go in with a makeup sponge in the end. All of the eyeshadows I used this month I kept in this little bin. So I finally tested out the Marc Jacobs Martorial palette. Here are the shades. And what I was not expecting was how pigmented these shades were. I'll swatch them for you. So I actually thought that this shade right here, this kind of taupey shade, would be good for a transition color. And then when I used it, I was like, whoa. It was way too dark. Definitely beautiful pigmentation, but I did have to use a very light hand with these shades. The other new to me palette that I used this month was the Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions palette. I got this in my March 2019 Ipsy Glam Bag Plus. This was my fun pop of color palette for the month. Aren't those shades so pretty? The other eyeshadow palette that I had pulled in for the month was the ColourPop Double Entendre palette. This was the very first ColourPop palette that I ever purchased, and it's one of my favorites. This is a great warm toned neutral palette, and I'm really glad to have it in my collection. I did pull in two bronzers for April. The first was this Smashbox Warm Matte Bronzer. And I've used this in the past, but for some reason this month, I actually found it to look a little orange. Maybe I was a little too heavy-handed with it, and I think it was okay when I applied it with more of a light hand, but I will have to think about whether I want to keep this in my collection or not. The other bronzer that I tested out for the month was this NARS Laguna Liquid Bronzer, and I did completely use this up. It did get a little messy there in the end, and I don't think I will be purchasing the full size of this. It did have nice coloring. I think it was a little hard to use just because of the nature of the dispenser. So it might have been better if it had come in a bottle, but I always got either too much or too little product, and then I did feel like it blended out nicely, but when I had too much product, I just felt like I was wasting it. I pulled in two blushes for the month. I love this Bare Minerals Gen Nude blush. This is in the shade Bellini Brunch. I really love the look of a peach blush. The other blush I had pulled in for the month was this Laura Geller Baked Blush and Brighten. And this one I did not enjoy using. I do prefer more matte blushes than glittery blushes. So this was definitely more of a blush topper or blush slash highlight, and I will be passing this along. The only new highlight that I pulled in was this Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector. This is in the shade Opal. And this was a really beautiful highlight. So the only things that I have left in here are my lip products. I had used this Pat McGrath Luxe Trans lipstick in the shade Realness for the second month in a row. And while I do enjoy using this lipstick, I will be moving on to other colors for the month of May. The last lipstick that I pulled in for the month was this Burt's Bees lipstick in the shade Blush Basin. So this is kind of like a lip balm slash lipstick hybrid. I don't feel like it was as moisturizing as I thought it would be. And I don't know if you can see that, but there are all these like little bumps in it. And it's not from my lips. It seems like it's actually coming from the product itself, which is a little weird. Okay, and the only other monthly makeup basket product left is this Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. This is definitely the best setting spray that I've ever tried. When I use it, I'm just always so surprised and shocked to see how matte, or at least matte to me, my skin looks. And this is definitely something that I would want to repurchase once I finish it. Everything left in here is from Project Pan, so let me show you the products that I've picked out to use in the month of May. In May, I'm going to be using my ColourPop All-Star Primer. This is a mattifying and blurring primer. And I'm going to be using another of my lighter foundations. This is the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Foundation in the shade Light Beige. Again, I want a light foundation so I can mix it in with my Project Pan foundation and get more use out of that. I'm also going to be testing out this Jouer High Coverage Liquid Concealer in the shade Wheat. I picked this up during last fall's VIB sale, but I've never tried it, so I'm going to try it out this month. I'm also going to be pulling in my Clé de Peau Radiant Corrector for Eyes in the shade Ocre. The two powders that I'll be using are the It Cosmetics Airbrush Perfecting Powder. This is in the shade Medium. This may be a little bit too dark for me, but I will try to use it as light of a hand as possible. And I'll also be testing out a Japanese powder. This is the Keana Pate Pore Putty Shokunin Face Powder in clear or transparent. And I will see how this works as both a setting powder and a finishing powder. The two brow products that I selected for the month are both new to me. They're the LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil in Brunette and the BrowGal Instatint Tinted Brow Gel for brown hair. I have a bunch of eyeshadows and eyeshadow palettes that I'll be using. First will be the Chanel Ombre Premier Cream Eyeshadow in the shade Undertone. I also have the Natasha Denona Mini Nude Eyeshadow Palette. This is the Chanel Candor Et Experience palette. I think this is a really pretty neutral palette. Of course, I have to use a ColourPop palette. This is the Kathleen Lights for ColourPop Zodiac palette. This will be my pop of color palette for the month. And I'll be testing out my new Meet Matador eyeshadow palette from the Balm. The colored eyeliner that I'll be using this month is the Clinique Skinny Stick in Demi Grape, and my neutral eyeliner will be the ColourPop Cream Gel Eyeliner in the shade Mr. Bing. I'll also try to get some use out of my Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. I also wanted to try get some use out of my Hourglass Blush Trio palette. I believe I picked this up during last year's Nordstrom anniversary sale. And I just picked up this drugstore blush. This is the LA Girl blush in Just Natural. And the highlight for the month will be this Morphe highlight in the shade Extra. And this came in one of my recent BoxyCharm boxes. Almost forgot to pull in a mascara. This is the Essence Volume Stylist 18-Hour Curl and Hold Mascara. I'll be using this along with my Milk Makeup and Laura Mercier mascaras from previous months. I'm only pulling in a couple of lip products this month so I can try to focus on my Project Pan items. But I will be using for the month this ColourPop Ultra Blotted Lip in the shade Doozy. This Milani lipstick in the shade Naturally Chic. I'll also be using one of the new Chanel Rouge Cocoa Flash shades. This is Jouer. And finally, one of my birthday freebies, this Bare Minerals Gen Nude lipstick in the shade Juju. The setting spray that I'll be using this month is from Catrice Cosmetics. This is the Prime and Fine Anti-Shine Fixing Spray. And finally, for skincare, I just wanted to start testing out a few lighter gel moisturizers since summer is quickly approaching. So I'll be using this Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Pink Juice Moisturizer, as well as this Belief Aqua Balm Moisturizer. Both are Korean beauty moisturizers. And that'll wrap up today's video. I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. In addition to these monthly makeup basket videos, I also post Project Pan updates, TJ Maxx and Japan hauls, and the occasional subscription box unboxing. Thanks so much for stopping by and hope to catch you again in my next video. Bye.